Welcome to Uncensored Entrepreneurs, where hosts Stephanie Magnus and Sabrina Wiggins break down the real deal about entrepreneurship without sugarcoating anything.
Welcome back, guys, again for another episode of Uncensored Entrepreneurs. Today we are joined by Miss Karen Scott, CEO of KNS Industrial Supplies. Good afternoon, Karen. How are you doing today?
Hey, doing really good. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys today.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. So, as we like to do with everybody, nobody can give an introduction better than yourself. So, we're going to allow you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I'm Karen Scott, CEO of KNS Industrial Supply. We provide pipes, valves, and fittings and industrial supplies to construction companies, state, local, federal government agencies. Pretty much anybody could use the items that we have. I tell everybody we provide things like tools to toilet paper. That's pretty much the range of what we can provide when you talk about industrial supplies and maintenance, repair, and operational materials. So anything for facility support, we have it. So just come on out and get it from us. I'm a 27-year military veteran logistician. So to me, it's all logistics. It's just a different commodity. And we're here to serve.
Well, that is exciting, especially again, powerhouse, Black female that's in this space again. Tell us a little bit more about how this space is really not dominated by women and how you got into this space.
Yeah, so you're right. It is not a space that's predominantly dominated by women. And especially when we look at what our mainstay is, which is pipe, valves, and fittings. One of the things I learned when I was in the military is I don't have to be the subject matter expert in everything, but I've learned how to surround myself with those who are. The military taught me to supervise and delegate as a leader. And so with this space, again, I don't have to be the subject matter expert. I've hired people to surround myself with those who dominate, who know pipe, valves, and fittings. And I provide the logistics and we make it happen.
That's awesome. Now, let's talk about, you say you hired your crew. So in entrepreneurship, on this journey that we're on, when you are looking for your staff, how are you going about vetting them to make sure that they are a perfect fit for your business?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so I did the Goldman Sachs 10,000 class, which really taught me a lot as far as staffing and creating a culture within the organization. And although like now we're still a fairly small staff, we're a staff of 8. It's still very important to create that culture with that staff of 8, because as you grow, it just gets even harder. It's harder to change things that are wrong way down the road versus making it right now. So just what I've learned from the Goldman Sachs class, I've put into place, and it's been very helpful with creating the culture, learning how to hire staff, learning how to really run this organization.
Karen, that's interesting that you say that. Can you talk a little bit about your staffing journey? Because I noticed you said you have staff, and a lot of our listeners are probably trying to get into the point where they're trying to hire staff. Mm-hmm. Tell us, before you get to your next thought, tell us about that staffing journey. What was that like for you?
It has not always been easy, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. So starting out, of course, not having a lot of information when I first started, aside from what I've learned, my leadership skills in the military. I started out with a staff of 10 because I hired friends and family. That did not work out too well. Ended up having to fire everybody and start over again. But it was the best thing that happened, or that could have happened to the business, since we've moved away from the family and friends. The business has started to really flourish. So I know everybody has that cousin or favorite sister, right, or whomever that you want to hire. I would definitely say no.
Yeah, give us an example. Give us examples of something that happened, so that way these are kind of like red flags that we need to be watching out for. So give us if you can, share a story or something. What made you realize like that was your aha moment? Like, this is not going to work out.
So I don't want to share any specifics because they might watch, but
right.
I would say
they know what they did.
This is true. I would say that just don't be, be slow to hire, but quick to fire. And I say that because when you have family and friends, it's really hard to tell them you're really messing up. You don't have the company's best interest in mind. It may just be a paycheck for them. People just aren't as vested in your vision as you are. So you just have to understand we're friends, we're family, but understand this is business and business is business. And if we can't do business together, it doesn't mean I don't love you. We're still family and friends, but you just can't work for me.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes when we hire family and friends, sometimes they feel like, they have a leg up on everybody else and they can kind of do whatever they want to do and not follow the rules. But that is not the case. Like
Exactly.
a business is just that, a business, and we're trying to run it properly. So like you said, yes, be quick to fire.
Exactly.
And it's funny you say that, Karen. I think of an episode of Sabrina, what's that show I watch with the Bar Rescue? And the football player, I can't think, but Sean Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
He had a restaurant in Compton, I believe, and he hired all his family and friends, even his auntie. Of course, him, he's Marshawn Lynch. He was playing, I forgot who team he was playing with at the time. And listen, y'all, the family was acting the fool in the restaurant. Like his cousin was drunk, giving out drinks. The cousin drank most of the profits. And so he had to get Marshawn Lynch. Of course, people think that a lot of things just happen to us. It happens to celebrities too, as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And his cousin they said if his cousin keeps on doing this, he's going to be losing $90,000 a year.
Wow.
Now, anybody know who Marshawn out there watching know who Marshawn Lynch is?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's a beast on and off the field, and he's known for nonsense. He lost it.
Wow.
But you know what I appreciate about the episode though is that the family and friends did not understand that their actions is a reflection of the business.
Yes,
exactly.
And a lot of times they don't have our vision, they don't have our goals, and sometimes we can't blame them because we don't share stuff with them. Like, look, when you screw up, it affects my bottom line. So I wouldn't say, we're not saying don't hire your family and friends. Educate them. Let them know, like, hey, I'm person Sabrina. No, I'll make them do staff meetings just like any other employee. You know what I'm saying? So take Karen's lesson, and what she's not saying is not to not hire your family and friends, but you got to treat them like an employees. It's like once you walk into that door, you're an employee of Karen.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm not your auntie. You can't be like, hey, auntie. No, we don't do that in the business world.
Exactly.
You got to take it seriously. Once we leave outside the door, I could be your auntie again. I could be your cousin, your mother, whatever. But once we're inside, KMS Industrial Supply, it's all business here.
Exactly. And it's really good that you mentioned share your vision. And I have just, there's good and bad with that. First of all, everybody doesn't share your vision. Your vision is not everybody else's vision.
Mm-hmm.
And although you may share that with them, if that's not their vision, they're just not going to work out. And that goes back to what I said as far as creating that culture within the organization. This is who we are. This is what we stand for. This is where we're going. Everybody needs to be on board with that, because if they're not, it is going to be a train wreck.
That's exactly.
Yes. And also, share with them how important it is for you to create that culture inside of your work environment so that you can have, cohesiveness across your team.
Of course, exactly.
Yeah, it most definitely is important because you want to be on the same page from day to day, and you have things that you need to be consistent. And so, like me being in a leadership position with my staff, trying to get them to be consistent across the board, sometimes it's hard trying to do that. But if you're having those team meetings and things like that, you can kind of help mold them and make sure that they're on the same path and your vision in the company.
And firing, whether it's an employee, firing your contractor, firing your bookkeeper, firing your virtual assistant, is still not easy.
It's not.
Because it's people's livelihood, but it's the end of the day, I like what you said. It's not personal, it's business.
Right.
We can't say no more than that. and cannot
Exactly. Still love you like a brother, sister, cousin, whomever, but this is just not working out. And we want to keep that relationship, that family, that kinship. So it's probably best that we part ways. I always say, let's um, agree to disagree and keep it moving.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Sabrina. Since we're on the subject and we want to dive into the inner outs and makings of Karen's business, tell us about paperwork. How do you feel? I mean, because I know in your line of work, there's a lot of paperwork because not only is there you have employees, you got DOL paperwork, but tell us about your feelings about paperwork, the amount of paperwork, your thoughts on paperwork.
Paperwork's a beast. But it can certainly make or break you, that's for sure. One of the things I decided to do this year differently than I've done in the past is to outsource what I can because it takes things off of my plate. I need to be working on the business, not in the business, because when you're working in the business, your business cannot grow. You can't see the forest for the trees. So this year, I've decided to outsource quite a bit. 2 virtual assistants I've hired, outsource all of my HR so that I don't have to do much other than payroll. But as far as onboarding employees, looking for employees, looking at resumes, just I give criteria.
W-9s, I-9s,
all of
W-2,
that.
504, all them damn
I
forms.
want to give that to HR, especially with offices in California and in Texas. California laws are pretty crazy, and I don't want to get in trouble for something that's not my expertise. So I've hired an expertise, like I said earlier, hire subject matter experts to handle all of those, and then I can focus on continuing to grow the business because at the end of the day, everybody wants a paycheck. And if I can't grow the business and find new customers, that's a problem. So I try to make sure all that paperwork, I have a team of people to take care of what they need to. The accountant takes care of his, HR takes care of theirs, and whomever else I need to take care of those. So I don't have to worry about it.
Wow.
And that's so important, what she just said, guys, is because when you are trying to do something that's just not in your wheelhouse, and if you screw it up, you're gonna have some issues along the way. And
Absolutely.
So, and if you're not in that place to be able to outsource, like Karen has been able to, you need to be able to try to find some people that you can barter with, that can be able to help you do some of these things because, like she said, being able to grow your business, sometimes you just got to step back and take your hands off for some things and allow other people to help you so you continue to grow. So that is so important.
So how do you, Miss Sabrina was just talking about this other day, and Sabrina, I don't know if you saw the case I just sent you from the IRS about the CPA. Take a look at that if you didn't see that. But so Karen, tell us how you go about outsourcing. Like, what is your processes? Because I'm a big candidate of vetting the people that work for you. So how did you come? This might help some people that are watching who may say, you know what, Karen's right. Karen's the beast. Karen's on point. I need to start outsourcing. So what steps did you take? Like, did you vet? How did you come across the people that you use to outsource?
Great question. So I would prefer to have referrals from people that I know who are doing well with their business. And if they're a trusted source for them, I can pretty much assure it's a trusted source for me. So the 2 virtual assistants that I have were referrals from a very trusted source. They have been doing a phenomenal job, and I've actually referred them to other people also. So sometimes you have to look for Google and look at reviews and see how many reviews they have and what the reviews say. And you can't always just look at all the good ones and not look at the bad ones, because sometimes the bad ones will help you shed light as to, okay, what needs to be changed or how that person might be able to work for you. But definitely referral, I think, is the best source.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you do background checks on your people?
So since I do outsource my personnel, typically through a personnel agency, they'll do the background checks.
Okay. Awesome.
And that's good, because especially in the space that you're in, you're dealing with the government. And so a lot of times when you're bidding on some of these contracts and stuff, I'm pretty sure that's part of the requirement for some of those. Now, how many of these in your contracts now are some of these spaces you have to actually physically go into, or are you just purchasing the products and just delivering them to them?
Typically, we're just purchasing the products and delivering. There are some things that we do have to deliver. For instance, for some of our customers in California, we deliver a pipe for shipbuilding. And so that is a lot of times that we have to deliver the pipe actually to them or other supplies to them. We do a lot with the city of Los Angeles,
Okay.
some of the areas up there. So sometimes we do deliver. If it's large quantities, then we don't. But we do have a small fleet of trucks and a couple of delivery drivers so that we can make the deliveries ourselves.
Oh, wow. So now how did you connect with your drivers?
These were people. So before we got to the point where I could hire outsource, then yes, I had to do the interviews and the background checks. And since they're drivers, because of the size of the trucks, they are required to have a drug test every so often. So that makes it a little bit easier to make sure I've got some pretty good quality people, because if they come up hot, obviously they're gone right away. So that helps a lot. But before then, I had to do the paperwork, do the interviews, putting it out on one of the platforms, which, of course, as you probably know, is very time consuming and it costs as well. So
let's talk about certifications. And both you and Sabrina both have certifications. And so talk about that journey and things like that. Talk about both of you all, talk about the importance of business certifications.
Talk about the headache of it first.
all the above. Like, what made you? I mean, both of you all have business certifications, so just talk about that.
it can be a lot of paperwork. So that was really one of the things I tackled initially. That was the first thing I tackled with the businesses. I went and got every certification I could get. So when people ask me, I say, hey, I have all the alphabet soup. So we are minority certified, woman-owned small business. Because I am a veteran, we're service disabled, veteran-owned small business. And I have those certifications in multiple locations. So for instance, the Meeby Weeby, we're certified through through Southern California Minority Supplier Development Council. I believe that's the correct acronym for it. And then also through the national NMSDC. So then our home base is Southern California, but because we have an office in Texas, we have the Houston subscription service. So we're Meeby Weeby here as well. The DBE, which is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, and SB, of course, that's federal. They have reciprocity. So when I move around or see other states that we want to do business in, we submit the paperwork. But it is a lot of paperwork. But it is well worth the journey. It's not anything for us. It didn't start to pay off right away. But over the course of the years, as you start to build the relationships, they are now starting to pay off very good.
So Karen, let me ask you this. So since you have them in multiple states, were you able to transfer some of your certifications to the other states without having to go through the whole process again? Or did you have to go and fill out the paperwork, all the arm and a leg, give your whole life story for each one of them?
Because that is about what it is. You're right. So for the DBE certification, that is one that you can use the unified application, and you can submit some of it. Some of the paperwork, they'll ask for an update. So that's one that is transferable to other states. The SBE, the Small Business Enterprise, our initial certification was with LA Metro. That was when we were able to transfer very easily to the Houston metro area. We have a historically underutilized business certification in the state of North Carolina. Some states are easier than others to get those. Although we have an office here in Texas, we just found out they will not allow us to do the hub certification because while I am housed here and have residency, my principal place of business is in California. So some states, it's like you can get something here, but you can't get it there. But yeah, it was fairly easy to transfer for those. But like maybe we be through the NMSDC, you can get subscription services wherever you live. That one's pretty much all over. WeBank's pretty much all over.
Yeah, WeBank. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah.
So how hard was it? How for both of you all? How hard was it? Tell about your journey. How long, like Sabrina? How long did yours take?
Well, I don't have nowhere near all the ones that Karen had.
Right.
just my process here from Maryland, it took me almost 9 months to finally get it. So I just recently finally got the certification for small business, veteran, and minority and woman owned in the state of Maryland. Now I want to be able to get them on the federal, but I'm still a federal worker, so I can't get the veteran on right now. So it's a process, but eventually I won't be in that space. I will be able to get it. But in the meantime, I have it at the state level. So that works for me. But the process took a while because they want to know, they want to know your life story. And I think that for me, what was a shocker for me, and I think it was good for me to know, is being able to put together my personal net worth. We don't sit around and do that. So I was like, well, I might be all right over here working a little bit. I'm working a little bit, but just going through and putting all that paperwork together, I tell you that if you are truly serious about taking your business to the next level, these certifications are a place for are something that you should really consider getting, because it will help you in the long run. And like Karen said, it doesn't necessarily help you in the beginning, but it's about once you build those partnerships and networks, then it will most definitely start to pay off. But it's no walk in the park. So you have to really be consistent. You have to have all your stuff in order and making sure that you're really, really serious about this process.
And that's sorry, go ahead, Karen.
I was gonna say, you definitely, when you get them, you do not want to lead with, oh, well, I'm certified as a this, and this. That's great that you have the certifications, but can you do what needs to be done? Right. So at the end of the day, you need to be able to get the people what they need, when they need it, where they need it, and then the certifications is gravy.
I was going to add to that, Sabrina, the compliance part of it. As both of you all mentioned, you all talked about having your, as I call, your ish together. One of the things, that I see people need to maintain is that part of the certification is that once you register with the state, all your entity stuff, that from the time you register to the time you do your credentials, you got to make sure your stuff is on board, because they do go back and check. They do want to see. And I don't know if in where you are, Karen, but I know in Maryland, Sabrina had to submit certificate of good standing. So just because you have an LLC or SOC core standing doesn't mean you're good with the state. And so in order to do that, you have to really be on, it's supposed to say, your P's and Q's. Leading to that, Karen, tell us a little bit about how you in your business keep up with compliance. Because I know you're heavily regulated, especially in the industrial area and supply. Talk about your compliance journey and how do you manage that?
Yeah, so again, as I delegate and take things off my plate, the more important things as such are ones that I keep. So I try to keep a running calendar. So if there's anything, there's renewals, there are education requirements, I have to keep that stuff on a calendar so I can make sure it happens, because you're right. If you miss your education requirement, or for instance, with the driver, if you don't take the drug test every so often, they can suspend your ability to do business. So it is very, very important that you maintain, or you are within compliance of all areas of your business.
And so with the compliance, we're going to stay in the compliance area for a minute. When you just talked about drug testing, and, like today we're in a world where unfortunately everybody wants to smoke weed. And so how important is it for your clients to understand, well, your employees to understand that they have to stay clean, because at any point in time they may get drug tested and be out of a job.
Yeah, it's called the employee handbook, and these are the rules. These are the rules.
My favorite 2 words, employee handbook. That's like you understand, that's your contract between your employer and the employee. Yep.
And then you sign saying, I have received it and I have read everything that is in here and I will comply. And we actually just did our renewal just a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it was just last week. We just had our review of the employee handbook. So absolutely, very important.
And I like, Sabrina, what Karen is doing is, I believe in the CYA method and all those things. I see a lot of times entrepreneurs fail to do those things in place to protect themselves.
Tell your ass. Tell her what the acronym means.
Well, in my world, I call it cover your assets. That is because it's everything, including your derriere, right?
Exactly.
And so people don't understand is that, I have clients all the time and say, oh, I'm like, where's the agreement in place? Where's your statement of work? Where's your contracts? And that employee handbook, people don't believe it, is that is your contract. This is like, as an employer, this is what I'm going to do for you. But this is also your employee responsibilities. And so a lot of times is even when you hire a family, we talked about earlier, make them sign that. And Sabrina knows that if a person doesn't want to sign it, I ain't doing business with you. Because, I don't want to sign it, or why can't you pay me under the table? Well, this is not how I do my business practices. So I think I'm gonna have to go with somebody else. Because in the day, people always say I'm afraid of the IRS. I was telling somebody yesterday, no, I'm afraid of DOL. Because Karen's laughing because she knows I'm right, because the IRS, their sanctions are pennies. But DOL, the things that Karen talking about, the drug testing, and DOT, the infractions are set. It's either 40,000 per infraction or 100,000. The IRS just throws out numbers. It don't make sense. But these infractions from DOL are important. So if you're trying to get like Karen, because that's what we all aspire to be, is a person that is building and improving our workforce. Because that's what Karen doing, Sabrina. She's doing, not only she's an entrepreneur, she's doing job creation.
Yes.
Whether it's outsourcing or hiring employees, and you have to cover your butt. You have to cover your derriere. You just really have to, because end of the day, there's some issues that Sabrina talk about all the time, Karen, that you have to be afraid of. DOL, DOT, IRS, CIA, FBI, all those agencies have regulatory capabilities. What does that mean? They can lock your butt up.
Exactly. And I don't wear orange for a reason. It's just not a good look. So
it's
going to be you all day.
Yes. If I have to choose, I'm not going down with you.
Not going out like that. It's just not worth it. You lose so much.
I don't like bread. I don't like somebody telling me what to eat.
Yeah.
Right, and when to eat.
And when to eat. It's not buffet. I don't have a choice. You put whatever you want on my plate. No, I'm not doing that.
Yes.
So this is important that, to our viewers, this is my message to the viewers, listen to what Karen's saying, because a lot of us, like I said, are inspiring to be in that position, whereas Karen is not only maintaining a lifestyle for her, she's building generational wealth, because then, she has employees, and then she's bringing wealth to them because they're able to work with Karen and then able to provide for their families. And that's all. This is why they said small businesses is the backbone of our economy. We make the world go round. So if anything else you don't get out of this, watching this interview, is that we, as you can see, we do make the world go round, because we are doing the things that a lot of people not doing, which is job creation.
Yes.
So kudos to you. Like we said, we like to give people their flowers while they're here. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. It is definitely a journey. But it's a rewarding journey, or it has been rewarding for me. So I love what I do. I love my team. We have a great team, and just looking forward to seeing where this can really go.
Yes. Well, guys, guess what? We're going to take a quick break. This is another episode of Uncensored Entrepreneurs. But before we get into the second half, we're going to take a quick break and come back, and we're going to put Miss Karen in the hot seat with some of our hot seat questions. All right, guys, we'll be right back. From our break, and again, we are interviewing today Miss Karen Scott with K&S Industrial Supplies. All right, Karen, we are back, and we're going to get you on the hot seat real quick. So, but before that, one of the things that I forgot to do, so believe me, we just doing this on the fly. one of the questions I should have been asking you earlier. So what is one of the worst, what is one of the worst, let me back it up. What is the worst business advice that you've ever received from somebody?
Oh, wow. The worst business advice. Honestly, I don't know that I've gotten bad business advice from anyone. Geez, I have to think about that. That's a good one. I when people tell me things, I try to do some research on it before I actually execute. Just because
Well,
I'm
that's
so
good, because
busy.
some people, as you see in today's world of social media, they just see the glamorous life and they just go in and they get into it not knowing the ins and outs of what they're getting into because
Yeah.
somebody else told them to do. And I would say that the one thing that we learn in with Coach Brooks is not to do those things.
I will say that just before I started KNS Industrial Supply, I used to do educational consulting for high school kids. And that was I loved what I did because I was helping families find money for their kids to go to college. But I think I wasn't successful with that business simply because I was still in the military at that time, although I was planning to transition out. It was a job. It was a business I could work in the evenings because I was meeting with parents and kids, which was after school. But I didn't work it just because I had a paycheck. So if you are trying to be an entrepreneur, I get it why you don't want to just leap with both feet into your business because you may still need that money to sustain you. But you got to put forth the effort because if not, it is not going to be successful.
And it's interesting that you say that because sometimes, we do like for me, I'm still, full time every day, but I feel like I'm full time in two places because by the time I log off work or come home from work, depending on if I'm in the office that day, I come home and I'm straight into my business. And so people have to understand that you can still be able to maintain both positions, but like Karen was just saying, you have to put the time and energy into it if you expect to at some point leave that 9 to 5 and be full time in your business. So you have to know how to make sure that you're doing both of those jobs and really be in it, because you can't just like you said, can't be a little bit in it, giving it 2 or 3 hours and then keep on going. You have to really invest some time into your business.
Yeah, at that point, it's just a hobby.
Yeah. Stephanie talks about that all the time, whether it's a hobby or if it's a business.
Yeah.
So, so when you were in the military, and I know you was in the logistics field, so what is one of the things that you learned that you really apply in your business? I know from a leadership standpoint, you're using some of that, but what is something else that you use in your business today that you gained from the military?
I would have to say the discipline to just push. Again, like I said, but when I had the first one, I didn't have the discipline. I knew what the problem was. And so now with KNS Industrial Supply, I'm very disciplined, very focused, probably too structured maybe for some of the employees. But you got to have structure because if you don't, you will go whichever way the wind blows. And I think it's super important that you have that discipline and structure to be successful.
And that is very true. You most definitely have to have discipline. Again, within anything that we do, if you really want to see it succeed and be successful, you have to have some discipline. And sometimes coming from that military background, we kind of know what that is. We know what that looks like. And so when you put that added piece into your business, you're gonna eat, sleep, and breathe it no matter what. No matter what you're doing, you can have multiple things going on. You're going to always add that discipline piece into whatever it is that you're doing.
But also very important that, as I said, this year, I decided I can't do everything. You have to realize that as a business owner, while yes, there's a lot to do, you can't do everything. You can't. So you have to lean on others to make things happen for you, or you will wear yourself out very quickly.
Yes, most definitely.
I have a hot seat question for you.
Yes.
So if you had to choose, and it could be both, if you had to choose offense or defense when it comes to your business, which one will you choose? Or if you choose both, tell us why.
I think you do need both in order to see the benefit of one or the other. Um, there are times when you need to be on offense because you're seeking what it is that you're trying to achieve. But then you need to be on defense so that when you find it, you have the tenacity or the wherewithal to keep going. If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah.
That's true. So what about when, because a lot of times, we were raised, especially in the Black community, we were always raised to be on defense.
Mhm.
And some people, let me rephrase the question in a different way. So some people, I have clients that be like, I'll worry about that. Like Scarlett O'Hara, one of my favorite movies, believe it or not, is Gone with the Wind. And one of her favorite sayings used to be like, oh, I'll take care of it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Even when Rhett Butler told her, frankly, my darling, I don't give a damn. She said, I'll worry about that tomorrow. So what is Karen's model? Like, what does Karen do? Do Karen just say, I'm going to tackle it today? Or are you that Scarlett O'Hara and say, look, I'll take care of it tomorrow?
So I go by what I call 50-meter targets, 100-meter targets, and 250-meter targets. So my team said, what are that? What are those? 50-meter targets, those are things that we need to get done right now. 100-meter targets, well, it's important, but the 50-meter targets are more important. The 250-meter targets, we can do that a little further down the road. I think you got to have some focus. It's goal setting, it's planning efficiently so that you can be effective in what it is you're trying to achieve. You can't go for everything all at once, because if you do, really nothing happens. People say you can't multitask. I think you can, but again, you got to know what's most important, what's in the got to get done today category versus this is in the too hard to do category for today, and I'm just going to push it till tomorrow or the next day.
Oh, that's important. You got to give yourself some type of schedule, goals, things that you put into place to know, because some of those things that are urgent, you really have to make sure that you understand it's urgent and you need to take care of them. You can't push them off to tomorrow, because tomorrow could sink you.
Yeah. And write it down. If you don't write things down and you think, oh, it's all in my head. Well, if you're the only person who knows it and something happens to you, then it really isn't going to get done. So I started journaling my day-to-day activities at work so I could know. First, I have everything in one place. I called myself a sticky note queen because I had sticky notes, and I still have sticky notes all over my desk. But every single day I come in, I move from the paper and pen notepad to a little writing tablet so I can keep everything in there electronically. But it's just so important to write those things down so you can see them, you have them, you can go back to them, you know where to find them.
Yeah. Stephanie, you got any more hot seat questions?
No, but I have something I'm going to start it with Karen. I got a new segment I want to do on this show. It's called Don't Fall for the Banana in the Tailpipe.
Oh, God.
So Sabrina knows what that means because I say it all the time. And I'm not sure if Karen knows what that means, but that is a saying. I got it from, if you'll know about me. Yeah, there you go, Karen. You got it. Yeah. So anybody who's never seen the movie Beverly Hills Cop, it's a phrase meaning don't be a sucker, right?
Right.
So in business, what is the one thing when you say don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe? What would that be for our listeners and viewers out there? What would be the one thing you tell them don't fall for?
So I get a lot of spam email every single day. Wow. Sometimes it lands in spam and sometimes it doesn't. If it looks like it's too good to be true, it probably is. Do not fall for, don't be so ambitious that you're willing to fall for the first thing that comes around that says, I can make things better for you.
Right.
Do your research, use trusted people, have a mentor who is doing what you want to do or going where you want to go. You can't learn how to be $1 million business from your best friend whose business is barely earning $50 a week, $100 a month, or what have you. So I definitely think a mentor is important, but don't be too ambitious to where, okay, well, you're going to take the first person. Because like you write social media, so many things pop up on your social media about, oh, I can show you how to do this and how to get government contracts. And you got to have a trusted source to learn from, but learn from somebody who is doing or going where you want to go, or who's done it before.
That's awesome. Sabrina, what is your don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
Oh, right now it's all about the internet scams.
Okay.
It's all about the internet scams, because we see so much every day of, oh, let me teach you how to do this. I can show you how to do this. And even like for us, we even tested one day. We said, okay, this is a $99 program, $99 we wasted, but we knew it was $99 that we knew that wasn't accurate. So we just wanted to test it because we knew that person didn't know what they were talking about.
Right.
So you guys have to understand, somebody can sell you something and pretend like they know what they're doing because they didn't copied it from somebody else. Yeah. But I can guarantee you, if you ask them a question, they will not be able to explain it to you. That's why they create a course, that they're not there, so you can ask them the question. So that takes them out of it, and they can say, well, I provided you all the information, but no, I need some clarification. And they can provide it for you. So that right there is one of the things that, hey, don't fall for it.
So my banana in the tailpipe is, I see this all the time. And Sabrina knows I have a lot, but the one I'm going to say today is, when you do anything with the state, do not fall for the banana tailpipe if you get correspondence that's not from the state. Meaning, a lot of times when you register, whether it's credentialing, your licensing and permit, sometimes you'll get something in the mail from these companies that says, hey, you got to get your certificate of good standing, it's $80. If it does not come from a sealed by any government agencies that Karen and I talked about today, every agency has a secretary of that agency, whether it's Department of Veteran Affairs, whether it's DOT. If it is not signed by them, do not send anybody any money. If it's not an official letterhead, even when if it's not on Karen's letterhead or officially signed by Karen, it didn't come from Karen.
Right.
So that's my banana in the tailpipe today, is don't fall for these scams where people saying you got to pay this and pay that. We know you registered with DOT. If it doesn't come from the Department of Transportation, whether it's federal or state, and both agencies have a secretary that run those agencies, and it has to be signed by that. And at the bottom, if it doesn't have a seal, it's not from them. So that's my banana in the tailpipe today.
Yes. Well, Karen, we greatly appreciate you joining us. But before we let you go, tell the people how they can connect with you, if they want to do business with you, if they just want to be able to learn and get educated a little bit more about your space. Tell them how they can connect with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. This has truly been an honor to be on your show today. So again, KNS Industrial Supply. To connect with us, you can find us on the web at www.knsindustrialsupply.com. You can call our California office at 714-449-3318. You can email me, Karen, at knsindustrialsupply.com or info@knsindustrialsupply.com. Reach out to us. Check us out on the web. We look forward to being able to do business with you, to make, if you're a procurement or purchasing official, to be able to make your life a little bit easier by finding what you need, making sure we get it to you in one piece and at competitive pricing.
Oh, that's
all
awesome.
right. That is great. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Uncensored Entrepreneurs. I am Sabrina, one of your hosts.
And I'm Stephanie Magnus, your other host.
And again, we hope you guys take away some great tidbits from this episode. And until next time, have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
And mind your muffins.
Bye. Thank you.
Tune in weekly to hear the uncensored voices of Stephanie Magnus and Sabrina Wiggins, two women who speak candidly about entrepreneurship. Stay connected with us at www.legittvnetwork.com.